In the heart of Tuscany, in the ancient walled city of Lucca, a story unfolded nearly 8 centuries ago that still echoes with the power of simple faith and profound kindness. It's a tale not of queens or warriors, but of a humble servant girl whose life became a testament to the extraordinary power hidden within an ordinary heart. This is the story of Saint Zita, the maid who served angels by serving humanity. Imagine a world vastly different from our own, a world where survival was a daily struggle, and kindness was often seen not as a virtue, but as a foolish weakness. In this world, a young girl named Zita left her small mountain village of Monsagrati at the tender age of 12. She wasn't seeking adventure or fortune. She was sent to work, to become a servant in the household of a wealthy wool and silk merchant, the Fatinelli family, in the bustling city of Lucca. For Zita, this wasn't just a job, it was a calling. She saw her daily chores not as drudgery, but as an offering to God. She rose before the sun, her first thoughts a prayer, her first actions dedicated to her duties. She scrubbed floors, kneaded dough, and tended to the needs of the Fatinelli family with a diligence that was second to none. But her work didn't end at the doors of the grand house. Zita's heart was bigger than the 4 walls that confined her. She saw the suffering that lined the streets of Lucca. She saw the hungry, the cold, the forgotten, and she couldn't turn away. Every spare moment, every morsel of food she could save from her own portion, she gave away. She would sneak out of the Fatinelli house, her apron filled with bread, to distribute among the city's poor. To Zita, every hungry person she met was a reflection of Christ himself, and she served them with the same devotion she gave to her prayers. This didn't go unnoticed. Her fellow servants, perhaps jealous of her piety or simply annoyed by her unwavering goodness, began to whisper. They mocked her, calling her a pious fraud. They saw her giving away the master's food and resources and accused her of being a thief. They complained to the head of the household, the stern patriarch of the Fatinelli family. They painted her acts of charity as acts of theft, her compassion as a betrayal of her duties. One day the master, his patience worn thin by the constant complaints, decided to confront Zita. He caught her just as she was leaving the house, her apron visibly bulky and heavy. "What are you hiding in your apron, Zita?" he demanded, his voice sharp with accusation. "You are stealing from my household to feed the vagrants on the street." Zita, trembling with fear, clutched her apron. She knew it was full of bread from the Fatinelli kitchen, destined for the hungry. She knew she was caught. She had no defense except the truth of her own heart. In that moment of terror, she whispered a prayer, a desperate plea for help. "What is in there?" her master repeated, more forcefully this time. With a trembling hand, Zita lowered her arms and opened her apron. But what tumbled out wasn't bread. It was a cascade of the most beautiful fragrant flowers, roses and other blossoms, fresh and glistening with morning dew, completely out of season for the cold winter day. The master stood there, stunned into silence. His anger melted away, replaced by a profound sense of awe. He looked from the impossible flowers on the ground to the terrified, tear-streaked face of his servant girl. In that instant, he understood. This was no ordinary theft. This was no ordinary girl. This was a miracle. Heaven itself had intervened to protect its own. From that day forward, everything changed for Zita. The master, deeply moved, not only permitted but encouraged her charitable work. He gave her leave to attend to the needs of the poor and the sick, even providing the resources for her to do so. The other servants, witnessing the miracle and the change in their master, fell silent. Their mockery turned to respect, their suspicion to reverence. Zita was no longer just a servant. She was a living saint in their midst. Her life continued in this way for nearly 50 years. She never sought a higher station, never desired more than she had. She remained a servant in the Fatinelli house, her days filled with prayer, hard work, and boundless charity. People from all over Lucca began to seek her out, not just for a piece of bread, but for a word of comfort, a prayer, a blessing. When a crisis hit the city, when a well ran dry or a famine threatened, the people of Lucca would say, "Let's go to Zita. She will pray for us." Her reputation for holiness grew, but she remained what she had always been, humble, simple, and devoted. Zita's miracles weren't always as spectacular as turning bread into flowers. They were often small, quiet acts of faith. There's a story told of a time she was meant to be baking the household's bread. Lost in prayer, she completely forgot her duty. When she finally remembered and rushed to the kitchen, she expected to be in terrible trouble. But she found the loaves already kneaded, risen, and perfectly baked in the oven. The other servants whispered that angels had come down and done the work for her, so she would not be disturbed in her communion with God. When Zita finally passed away at the age of 60, the entire city of Lucca mourned. It is said that at the very moment of her death, a brilliant star appeared above the Fatinelli house, signaling to all that a saint had gone to her heavenly reward. The family she had served so faithfully for decades gave her a burial befitting a cherished member of their own family, interring her in the Basilica of San Frediano, the very church where she had spent so many hours in prayer. But Zita's story doesn't end there. The miracles continued. Over the years, countless people reported receiving graces and healings after praying for her intercession. When her body was exhumed over 300 years later, it was found to be incorrupt, completely preserved, as if she had only just fallen asleep. It was seen as the ultimate sign from heaven, proof that a life of purity and holiness is never touched by the decay of the world. Her body remains there today, a powerful, silent witness to her incredible life. In a world that often measures success by wealth, power, and influence, Saint Zita's life offers a radical alternative. She teaches us that true greatness lies in humility, true power is found in service, and the greatest miracle of all is a heart filled with unrelenting kindness. She was once accused of being a thief, but heaven and history would call her a saint. The patron saint of domestic workers, of servants, and of her beloved city of Lucca, Saint Zita reminds us that we don't need to be powerful or famous to change the world. We just need to be kind. We just need to see the divine in the face of every person we meet and serve them as if we were serving heaven itself. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the life of Saint Zita. If her story of faith and compassion moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more stories of incredible lives that have shaped our world. Your support means everything and helps us continue to share these powerful tales. Until next time, may you find the strength to perform your own small miracles of kindness.